Lesson 9, Canto 5, Part 1. Welcome to the 5th canto containing 26 chapters and 668 verses. The opening verse for Canto 5 is, King Pariksit inquired from Sukadev Goswami, O great sage, why did King Priyavrata, who was a great self-realized devotee of the Lord, remain in household life, which is the root cause of the bondage of karma, fruit of activities, and which defeats the mission of human life? Canto 5 has been divided into two parts. Part 1 with chapters 1 to 15, and Part 2 with chapters 16 to 26. We begin with Part 1, chapters 1 to 6, where you first hear about the fascinating account of Priyavrata Muni, which then leads into the description of Rishabhadev, an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, who appears as the son of King Nabhi. He instructs his sons in the importance of using their lives to serve Mahatmas and to perform devotional service. He renounces everything to execute Jada Yoga. In chapters 7 to 15, Sukadev describes the beloved story of the 3 lives of Bharat, from emperor to deer to Jada Bharat. As Jada Bharat, he instructs King Rahugana how the mind causes both the entanglement and the liberation of the jiva. The mind, therefore, must be conquered through service to the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. Let's begin now. Chapter 1. Once Priyavrata Muni, the ruler of the universe, became dissatisfied that the sun gives light during the day in only part of the universe. By the Lord's grace, he was powerful enough to devise a second sun, a brilliant chariot, on which he followed the path of the sun and turned night into day, and decreased the seasonal imbalances during the year. Chapter 2. Priyavrata renounces his kingdom and his son Agnidira becomes the king. Desiring a son, Agnidira performs austerities to please Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma sends him a beautiful heavenly girl named Purvatsiti, and Agnidira begets Maharaj Nabhi. Chapter 3. The Supreme Lord Vishnu appears at the sacrifice of King Nabhi and agrees to become his son, Rishabhadev. Chapter 4. Understanding his son's popularity, Maharaj Nabhi installs Rishabhadev as the emperor of the world. Chapter 5. In Brahmavratra, Lord Rishabhadev instructs his sons that human life is meant for performing austerities to achieve spiritual happiness. This one attains by serving Mahatmas, accepting a guru, curtailing sense gratification, and always engaging in devotional service. Chapter 6. Lord Rishabhadev installs Bharat as emperor and lives like an avaduta, not caring for worldly conventions. He thus wanders like a madman. Chapter 7. After ruling for thousands of years, Bharat renounces and retires to Pula Ashram. There he performs austerity and gains complete satisfaction in devotional service. By chanting the hymns given in the Rig Veda, he worships Lord Narayan. Chapter 8. Bharat shows compassion to a helpless baby deer. he becomes attached to this animal and distracted from spiritual practices. Sheltering the deer, he becomes bound to it with affection. Thus, at the time of death, he thinks of the deer and becomes a deer in his next life. Chapter 9. In his third birth as Jada Bharat, he acts as if he were dull and stupid. His brothers put him out in the fields like a scarecrow to watch the grains. Then he is captured by dacoits, and when they raise a sword to sacrifice him to the goddess Kali, she bursts out of the deity and beheads them, for she is unable to tolerate their offence to a devotee. Chapter 10. Jada Bharat is enlisted to carry King Rahugana's palanquin, but while trying to avoid stepping on ants, he disrupts the king's smooth ride. Thus, the king chastises him. When Bharat responds with spiritual knowledge, the king begs forgiveness and accepts him as his guru. Chapters 11 to 12. Jada Bharat explains to Maharaj Rahugana how the activities of the material mind propel the spirit soul's wanderings from body to body. The mind, however, causes liberation when fully engaged in Krishna's service. Jada Bharat describes how the mind must be conquered through service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. Chapter 13. Jada Bharat compares the living entity's material situation to that of a merchant entering a forest to acquire goods to sell. Seeking shelter within the forest, the merchant befriends cranes and vultures, only to be cheated by them. Thus, Jada Bharat advises the king to slash the hard knot of the illusory energy with the sword of knowledge. Chapter 14. Sukadev Goswami explains the direct meaning of the story of the forest of material enjoyment. A merchant entering the forest to acquire goods is like the greedy, conditioned soul entering this world and chasing the objects of the senses. Like a deer chasing mirages in the desert, the conditioned soul pursues material existence despite disturbances in his life and considers this world to be permanent. Chapter 15. In the dynasty of Bharat, the famous saint King Gaya was called Mahapurusa because he possessed complete transcendental knowledge. All the chaste and honest daughters of Maharaj Daksha bathed Maharaj Gaya with sanctified water. He was able to derive all benefits from the earth and thus satisfy the desires of his citizens. The closing verse for chapter 15 in this Canto 5 is: there is a famous verse about King Viraj. Because of his high qualities and wide fame, King Viraj became the jewel of the dynasty of King Priyavrata, just like Lord Vishnu, by his transcendental potency, decorates and blesses the demigods. I hope you enjoyed reading and hearing about Bharat Maharaj and his 3 different births. The next lesson is part 2 of Canto 5. Namaste.